Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Let's Taste with the Intrepid Wino. My name is James Scaresbrook. I am opening some bottles from my own cellar on this edition. They were both purchased from the winery on their then open day, which they would do, I think, once a year, maybe it was a weekend, I think, back when I was working out in the Yarra Valley at Domaine Chandon. And I have actually opened another wine from this producer previously. These are both from the same vintage, so they're 2004. They are the Yeringberg wines from Coldstream. Again, as I mentioned on the previous episode, Yeringberg, very, very historic viticultural site in the Yarra Valley. Was one of the original sort of big three producers in the Yarra Valley back in the mid to late 19th century, and also was part of the rebirth of the Yarra Valley when they decided to start making wine from their vineyard again. So without further ado, I'm going to start with the Yeringberg Pinot Noir 2009. I'm not sure if I did mention it on that last episode when I tasted, I think it was the Yeringberg 2005. My epiphany wine, so basically the wine that I tasted, which cemented my career path in the wine industry, why I decided that wine was what I wanted to do, was a wine that I had. It was actually my sister's 21st birthday. It was at a restaurant here in Melbourne called Ezard. And it was the 1997 Yeringberg Pinot Noir. And so I think it's quite fitting that I'm opening not the same vintage, but this wine. I'm hoping to have one or two generations of De Pury family who own Yeringberg on my podcast, the Vincast, in the not too distant future. Cork is in very good condition. So, start off with excellent colour for a 12-year-old Pinot Noir. It's still showing up really well. It's very light, which is something that I do prefer in my Pinot Noirs, whether they be from Yarra Valley or Mornington Peninsula. I do like the lighter colour. I'm seeing a little bit of sediment, so there's probably a little bit of breaking down of the tannins, of the anthocyanins, the colour pigments in the wine, but it is still holding up good colour. Still very vibrant, really, really bright fruits. Moving into the sort of more dried kind of area though. Showing some cranberries, a little bit of black cherry, some pomegranate. It is picking up a little bit of sort of tertiary, so bottle age characters, so more in that kind of earthy, more mushroomy kind of realm. It sort of has a shiitake kind of character, but still, lovely bright berry character. If showing a little bit of maturity. Let's taste. Very light, very, very delicate, very focused and pure on the palate. Again, quite fresh, belying its age. I don't think there'd be many Yarra Valley Pinot Noirs which would still look so bright and show so much fruit at 12 years of age. There's a kind of a little bit of crunchiness to it, which is really nice, but it is quite gentle. It has softened a little bit. It's picking up a little bit sort of a silky countenance, which I think I prefer to see that with a bit of age. If a Pinot Noir is too silky at release when it's young, I think maybe it's been a little bit over manipulated. But still quite bold in the palate. By no means is it heavy. Really can't see any oak character. So very, very, very excellent quality. And look, this bottle is in really, really good nick. Excellent. Now, as I mentioned on a previous episode of Let's Taste, I did open up the 2005 Yeringberg. The Yeringberg is the Cabernet blend. I think there are 4 varieties: Cabernet Franc, Merlot, and Malbec joined the Cabernet dominant. And again, as I probably mentioned in that edition, I've long felt that the Bordeaux, the Cabernet blends are what the Yarra Valley does best in terms of red wine. I think the Chardonnays are the best in Australia. With a few exceptions, I don't really highly rate Yarra Valley Pinot Noir, but again, this is my preference. I do tend to prefer Mornington Peninsula for Pinot Noir, but the Cabernet blends, if you're looking at Yarra Yering, or this old Yarra Yering, Mount Mary, Yarra, these were all really excellent Cabernet blends. Again, cork in very good condition. Wonderful colour, quite a bit darker than Pinot Noir, not really hard to understand. Really not showing much sign of aging at all. Quite bold, dark fruits, mellow, plum, but there's some really interesting kind of carob notes in here. If I had to hazard a guess, I would think it would be barrel characters. Yeah, it's kind of like a spiced cinnamon, maybe even clove, nutmeg. But yeah, it is in that kind of more caramel vanilla realm, which is generally what I associate with barrel work. So I think there's possibly quite a bit of barrel work was in that 2004 vintage. Let's taste. Yeah, I'm seeing some quite soft, sweet, very mellow characters on the palate. The Merlot seems to be really dominating because it's giving it that plum character, that plump, fleshy sort of blood plum. There's a very, very slight amount of leafiness from the Cabernet, but this is the Merlot is really showing strong, and yeah, like I'm getting some sweetness, some vanilla caramel from what I assume is the barrel. So I'm really digging the Pinot at the moment. The Yeringberg for me, it's not really what I go for anymore. I'm not sure if they actually work the same way or not. I'd be very interested to know from Gil and Sandra what the oak regime was in that 2004 vintage, because for me it does show a little bit of oak there, and it's not it's not what I would think from Yeringberg. So it's a great wine, but for me it may be that the oak needs a little bit more time in the bottle just to soften out. But they're both excellent wines, but the Pinot Noir really is doing it for me on this occasion. Thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. Obviously, thank you to Yeringberg for making these wines. If you did like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel to make sure that you're getting the newest content as it becomes available. Come and visit me at intrepidwino.com. Make sure you subscribe to the Vincast podcast, so you can actually hear me talk to hopefully Sandra and Gil when they're on the show. But until next time, cheers.